2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, September 6, 2023. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. And Chet, college football season is underway with big wins by Penn State, Temple, and Villanova, along with a few opening game upsets. The NFL season is here with high expectations for the Eagles. We'll certainly talk about that. The Phillies continue to be kind of all over the place, but when they hit, they're really good. We'll be making our Eagles season predictions later on, NFL East Weekly picks for the first time this year as well. And we put in a little twist this year we're going to talk about. And also your Pink Floyd survey will be discussed today. We have a ton to talk about. I'm excited about that. And as always, plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Yeah, lots going on for sure, Bill. The Phils looking like they're going to get a win here out in San Diego. So much to talk about sports-wise, Bill. We might not have time for the Pink Floyd medley of hits that you and I were going to sing later.
Oh, yeah. I hope we missed that part.
We'll see.
All right. Well, hey, we have a couple great guests tonight in Penn Live, longtime Penn State beat writer David Jones, along with a legendary Eagles radio play-by-play announcer Merrill Reese, making his annual visit. Doesn't get much better than that tonight, my friend.
It does not. A couple of guys who have a wealth of sports knowledge. So David is just about ready, but not quite, apparently. So we will get to him in a second. What'd you make of this Phillies West Coast trip while we wait for Dave? 3-3 out west, assuming they win today. Ups and downs for sure.
Yeah, well, Chet, that worries me a little bit. They see some good pitching. They don't always hit, and that's a little worrisome, and those arms are getting a little tired out there, and we'll certainly talk some more about that. They got a great effort from Zach Wheeler today, but then took him out with a one-hitter and went back to the bullpen. Dominguez and Hoffman, and I don't know who they used in the ninth. The last I saw was at the end of the eighth. So they probably used three relievers again today, and that bullpen's getting tired, I think.
Well, they're off tomorrow, so that'll be good. Hey, we got a guest ready to go. Let's bring him on, Bill.
Let's do it. Let's welcome David Jones back to Philly Pressbox Radio. David, how are you? Welcome.
Howdy, boys. How are you?
Fantastic.
All good, Dave. Hey, let's talk football. The Nittany Lions. They didn't play a perfect game, certainly, but they played well enough to pretty convincingly defeat West Virginia in the season opener. For a lot of fans, the focus was the quarterback, Drew Allar. The numbers certainly look good. 21 of 29 for 329 yards, 3 touchdowns. Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Is he the real deal?
Yeah. I had thought maybe he wouldn't be mobile enough. I think he's mobile enough. I wondered if he had enough experience last year in real game situations. All he did was mop up time, except for a few plays at Purdue. He looked like he knew exactly what he was doing out there. And not only that, he didn't look at all nervous. I mean, it was striking for a guy making his first start, his first college start. I thought he was remarkably smooth. Certain guys, when a lot of first-time starters, you can tell how they are by their feet. They move their feet when they shouldn't move their feet and don't move them when they should sometimes. And he didn't do any of that, man. He made some mistakes. He threw a bad ball in the end zone that should have been picked. He threw behind DeAndre Lambert-Smith that should have been a touchdown, but he made the right decisions. He saw the field, saw what was going on, and made the right choices almost all the time. I was really impressed.
Well, I think the offense itself showed pretty well. The score could have probably been a whole lot, like you said. Missed the touchdown, missed a couple field goals. It could have been a whole bunch more. That offense really looks like it's got a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah, and the defense is what's gotten all the hype. And I didn't think they looked all that great, especially the front six, not great at all. So I thought Abdul Carter had a lousy night, and he's the best defender on the field in a lot of games. I don't mean just Penn State, but everybody, and he should be better. I think they were a little jacked up, a little hyped up, a little wired up, and they probably ran around too much. But that's the problem with Penn State's defense when they've had a problem is that they run around blocks and run down carriers rather than running into players and running into blocks and taking them on against the really tough teams. And we're talking about Michigan at the top of that list. So in my mind, everything that defense does should be geared toward what they can do against the really tough physical teams. I don't think either Iowa or Illinois have what is classically one of a Brett Bielema or Kirk Ferentz type team, and their offensive lines don't look great. So maybe we don't see those tests in week 3 or week 4 that we might at Illinois and Iowa, but everything should be geared toward week 8 against Ohio State in the Horseshoe and week 11 against Michigan, and nothing really. Those are the teams they haven't been able to beat, and those are the teams they got to beat.
Getting back to the offense and Aller, the 72-yard touchdown pass to Keandre Lambert-Smith was a beauty. How good is this year's crop of Lions receivers?
I was impressed with them too. There's a kid they got from Florida State in the portal named Malik McClain, who made a move at the end of the game, and a lot of people might have turned it off by this time, but it doesn't matter. This was a terrific move, and he looked like the kind of receiver that Florida State's had so often. And that, again, Aller made a great decision. He saw him out there in single coverage with not much behind him, just got him the ball. A lot of times it's not so much the pretty pass you throw, it's just getting the right guy the ball at the right time, and he did that here. McClain had a lot of cushion, so he just busted ass upfield, encountered the first guy who really had a shot at him, turned out to be the only guy at about the 10, and just kind of sidestepped him at full speed. That was impressive. That was really impressive. I'm going to be looking for more of him because he's also long and lean. He's about 6'4" and 205 or something, and he is a specimen. So I'll be interested to see more of him. The Lambert-Smith is still around, and they've got another kid that they got from Kent State named Dante Cephas, who had a great career there and caught a ton of balls, and I think he's going to be fine. He's more of a possession receiver, although he dropped a ball that came at him so fast. I think he was even a little shocked because it's game situation, it's game speed, and Aller put some mustard on this thing. It wasn't an easy catch. It was kind of out here, and it kind of smacked off his hands right at the pylon. I think he's always going to make that catch in the future, and I don't think he'll have a competition shock. He's seen a lot of football. So you put all those guys together, I think they're going to be fine at wideout.
You know, it seemed to me for years that Penn State they've had some great backs and not a great line. They've had some good linemen the years that they didn't have great backs. It seems like this time they might actually be aligned, and, you know, some experts, and I don't know your opinion on this, feel like they have the most talent that maybe a Penn State team has ever had. How do you feel about that?
On offense, man, you got to go back a ways, Bill. I guess you're talking about the offensive lines in the 90s because they
right.
How far back are you
Bill
going?
Kenny days, the Bill Kenny days when he was pumping out All-Americans every year.
Well, I'd have to take exception with that. They I think 94, 95, those guys.
Yeah, they were good.
They had trouble putting together a really good offensive line after that, even in the Bill Kenny days. I'd say this offensive line is good. I don't know if they'll be great against, say, Michigan's front. And And the backs are terrific. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen for sophomores are just fabulous. Singleton's the one with burst and the one with twitch. And Allen just bounces off guys. I mean, that is a terrific 1-2 punch. And they got a kid from Minnesota who can back them up, who probably will get some work against Delaware, who's had a lot of work in his career. So they're fine at running back. And it's funny, I didn't expect Allard to ever run a scripted run, but he did down on the goal line. I don't know how often you want to do that, but he did it too. I think just to show people that he could. It was probably designed simply to show opponents that, hey, you better be careful. The guy might do this. I don't think they're going to make a habit of it. But they've got all. They look like they got all the material. They didn't even use their tight ends that much. Yeah. Theo Johnson and Tyler Warren. So they're equipped. They're equipped on offense for sure.
Dave, we have to talk about that late touchdown. Penn State favored by 20.5 points, and the over-under was anywhere from 50.5 to 52. And with the score 31-15 and West Virginia out of timeouts in the final minute, Coach Franklin decided against a late kneel down, and the Lions scored a touchdown with 6 seconds left. The victory margin 23, the total points 53. I know West Virginia had called timeouts previously before that. Anyway, the margin of victory and the total points made some people very happy. Others kind of ticked off, of course. What did you think of it and the coach's explanation about it?
Well, what did you think? I'm curious, Chet.
Because West Virginia had called timeouts shortly before that to try to stop the clock, I think it's okay. You can't say because you're losing you can get away with doing that, but if you're winning, it's not a good thing. So,
well, hey, I want to throw this out there to you, David. Yeah. Somewhere in about 1988, 89, somewhere like that, I was at a coach's clinic, high school coach's clinic here in Florida, and a guy named Joe Canan of Bradenton, Manatee, was a legendary coach down here, Coach Tommy Frazier. That's where Tommy went a couple years later. Joe was at the coach's clinic and says, "It's not my job to play defense for you." Never forgot it.
Hey. Yeah, what's lost in all this is there are so many clickbait sites who are looking for some sort of acrimony that they actually took a very small snippet of what Neil Brown said afterward and didn't really give the full perspective of what he said. And he began with it was the very last question in the press conference, like a 15-minute press conference. And I enjoy the hell out of Neil Brown. I think he's really frank and honest and matter of fact. I don't think he had a great night. I would have run that big Donaldson kid a lot more than he did. But, he's the mad scientist type, and he doesn't want to dumb it down. I thought that this was the kind of night to dumb it down. So he's probably I think he knew he had a bad night. I think he knew he made some wrong decisions. And he's coaching for his job. It's his 5th year at that place. And they don't cotton to 22-26, I believe, is a career record, even though it's a different age in football. So there were some things on his mind, but he was not. They asked him about it. And he said, who cares? Who cares? I don't care. He said, I called timeouts. Timeouts. And he was pressed on it. And he said, look, I'll put it this way. I wouldn't have done it. But I'm not mad about it. And then he said something that I thought was where he kind of went over the line. He said, that kind of stuff goes around. It'll come around. Who knows when? Which actually belied what he said before. So I don't know how he feels. I had absolutely no problem with it. And I have had problems with Franklin leaving his guys in at the end of games when the games were over simply because of injury risk. Well, what are you doing? You don't need to have him out there. And with some of his other end game tactical decisions. But he had backups out there. He had Bo Prabula out there at quarterback. He had Trey Potts out there, the 3rd string running back I was talking about from Minnesota. So No, I mean they were backup guys, and they're giving them work, and it's like a fictional situation where we got to score here, sure. And it's not like they threw a pass into the end zone; it was Prabula ran it in. So I got no problem with it.
Kids just playing hard. Well, hey, David, we're going to run out of time before too awful long. So let's look down the road at that Michigan and Ohio State matchups. Has this team got what it takes to beat those two this year, or we're going to be 10-2 again?
Let's see him a little before that. I was the one who jumped ahead, so I'm wrong there. It's my fault. But at Illinois is going to be a very interesting game. I mean, they got a kid there from Ole Miss who they brought in, who is a terrific quarterback, and he's going to be a problem. Illinois is not going to look at all like Penn State saw him a couple years ago in that notorious 9 overtime game where their running back Brown just ran. It's not that kind of team. So they got to get by that game. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game. The kid's name at quarterback, remember this name, Luke Altmaier. And they only beat Toledo by 30-28. But I'm telling you, this kid's going to be a phenomenon in the league this year. And then they've got Iowa at home after that. So let's get out of September 1st, and then we'll worry about Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, hopefully Penn State will be 6-0 when they go out to Columbus next month. And boy, if things work out, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State could all be in the top 5 come late October, and that's going to be pretty exciting.
I think they're all going to get beat.
Oh,
I think they're going to beat each other. I do.
Well, yeah, that too. Before I let you go, who's going to have a deeper postseason run, the Eagles or the Phillies?
I spend so little time on the NFL because I'm always working. I'm doing the power poll on Sunday.
Yeah.
I just don't watch enough NFL to even be valid. The Phillies won today, right? Out on the coast?
They did, yeah, 5-1.
5-1. So I heard they pulled Wheeler early.
After 6 innings, yeah. But
one hit
great.
after 6.
I saw the game where Bohm made the big error that blew the 5-4 lead, and they lost 7-5. And I like Alec Bohm, and I like the infield, but sometimes they're just a little loose with their decisions. So I think it's asking a lot for them to go through somebody like they get the Braves again. Looks like they're going to get the Cubs in the playoffs.
Yes.
Doesn't it look like that, right?
Yeah, and Cubs are playing great right now.
And they're playing pretty well. So it's a lot to ask for what we saw last year. And I don't think that team should have been in the World Series, really. But who knows? I'll say the Phillies.
All right.
There you go. Well, hey, David, before we let you go, the people that want to follow us, we have a lot of Penn State fans. Where can they follow you? With all your activities you have going on, social media, Penn Live, and all that?
Everything I write I post it on Facebook, and just friend me on there, and I'll friend you. And on Twitter, or what are we calling it now? X.
Yes.
Elon Musk is just what a piece of work. That's at D Jones Hoop, HOOP.
Yep.
Good deal. All right. Well, David, thanks for taking the time to join us. We always enjoy it. We always love talking Penn State football here.
Guys, happy to do it.
All right. Appreciate you. All right, Chet. We're nearing the end of the summer. Labor Day is already long gone. Gas prices are out the roof again. I hate that. Time to start saving some money with Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance puts you in control. You only pay for the miles you drive with the same full coverage that a traditional policy offers. Pay-per-mile insurance gives customers greater control of their insurance costs. See how much you can save with pay-per-mile car insurance by calling your local agent in Westchester, Pennsylvania. That is Dave Lavoie. And by the way, in addition to auto insurance, Dave's Allstate office also offers home and renters insurance, life insurance, business insurance, and more. Allstate in Westchester. Call Dave Lavoie at 610-430-0700. Once again, 610-430-0700.
Hey, Chet, tell us while you're at it. Tell us what's going on over at that Irish Rover Station House. It's football season.
Yeah, good times at the Rover. They have a lot of TVs with all the games on the TVs. Otherwise, though, some things you can look forward to at the Irish Rover in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Quizzo every Wednesday evening. They're competing with us. How dare they? Live music is back on Saturday nights. This weekend, it is Andrew Moore providing the music. And you know this, they have dinner specials Thursdays through Sunday. Man, that chicken cordon bleu and naked salmon both look quite tasty. Burger Wars on Thursday as the Rover chefs cook up some tasty killer burgers. Always 24 beers on tap. And as we've been telling you, the annual Oktoberfest bash is on the calendar for September 30th. Make a note of that date, September 30th, noon to 6. I'm going to be there. Say hello. Great food and drink specials and more, including a Stein holding contest. I will not be entering that. The Irish Rovers on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. You can get more details on their website, IrishRoverStationHouse.com. And where's Ray Diddy when you need him? Come on, Ray.
Hi, this is Ray Dinger, and it is always fun to talk sports with these two guys, Bill and Chet, on Philly Pressbox Radio.
There you go. Thanks, Ray. As always. Hey, Chet, let's talk back about those Phillies for just a few minutes. Still up and down. The bullpen becoming a little bit concerned. They're tired. Bryce Harper, we talked just last week. I was looking at the notes as I was putting this show together from last week to this week. He was on fire last week.
Yeah.
He hadn't had a hit since last week until today. So he's in a bit of a slump. They were 4.5 games up at the start of today in the wild card position. What do you make of it?
Well, yeah, Bryce Harper hit his 300th homer last Thursday, I believe it was, and then he went 0 for 20 until he finally got a hit today. He had to shave the beard to get it. He shaved the beard, and now he's pretty much clean-shaven. Finally got a big 2-run single today, so that put them up 3-0 at the time. They're up and down, but, even with these tough losses that they've had over the past week, a couple of really tough-to-swallow ones, and then the blowout last night, they have still won, I believe, 10 out of their last 15 games overall. And that's pretty good. And they're still in good shape as far as that top wild card spot. I think they're a game and a half up on the Cubs right now. They're likely first round postseason matchup. But the good news is even if they finish in a tie, they will have the tiebreaker against the Cubs. So I think that's going to be a good matchup. I like this team. They're not perfect. They weren't perfect last year. You just got to be hot at the right time at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I like to give the business about that Kyle Schwarber. To raise your batting average from like 175 to 192, 194, whatever he is right now, is with 500 at bats under your belt.
That's pretty tough.
Is very hard to do. And he has hit another home run today. He's hitting line drives. He's getting base hits. He's getting walks. And that's the kind of guy we need to have. And as we said, he can carry this team. I don't want to jinx him because we talked about how hot Harper was last week. So Schwarber is swinging a good bat. And I think who just said that? Walter Treeman. I hope I said that right. All starters got a hit today. So,
nice.
So there you go.
And, speaking of Schwarber, since the All-Star break, his OPS, which is on-base percentage plus slugging percentage, is now up to around 985, which is second only to Brandon Marsh. He's actually ahead of Harper and Turner, who've also been, pretty hot since the All-Star break. So, I know you're not always a huge fan of Schwarber, but he has really come on of late, getting on base with walks, hitting home runs.
He's making contact. He's hitting line drives. He's getting base hits. Was my thing. The strikeouts and the home runs just don't offset in my mind. But now when you're moving runners and you're hitting line drives and getting on base, now you got a whole different thing going on.
And he's working the pitchers a lot too. I mean, he's always in 6, 7, 8 pitches every at bat, it seems, these days. So keep that going, and hopefully Bryce will get it going again. Haven't heard any Trey Turner wife baby news as yet. He's on paternity leave. Hopefully we'll be back Friday, hopefully with a new baby in tow. So get well, Trey. Hope everything goes well on that front.
Yeah, tell me what you've heard, because I've heard nothing, but I watched the lineup, and where's Brandon Marsh? Jake Cave played today against a right-hander. Marsh didn't start that game, right?
I thought he did. He was in center field, I know, most of the game when I saw. I think he did start today.
Okay.
Yeah, Brandon Marsh played today and started.
Because it seemed like he was not getting quite as much time since he got back from that little injury. I wasn't sure what was going on there. Jake Cave's been playing.
they have a lot of outfielders right now. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, Pache's been playing, so
yeah. Now
he's been
Rojas
getting his
hasn't
time.
seen any action the last few days. So
Yeah, and the other guy I wanted to shout out to, Jet, and I think he's been a quiet savior for that bullpen, is Hoffman.
he has, yeah. He pitched again today.
He pitched today. His ERA, I looked, it was like 2.44, so it's pretty low. I think he's a guy that probably nobody even thought would be here, and he's filled in a lot of gaps. Robbie said it earlier. I didn't put it up there because we were talking with David. That bullpen's leaking oil. I think there's a lot of tired arms out there, and that's why I guess if you're Rob Thompson, you have to decide today: Zach Wheeler's throwing a lot of innings. Do you let Zach Wheeler go more innings, or do you go back to that tired bullpen? Who's more tired?
Yeah.
And how do you weigh that out? Do you go another inning with Wheeler and use one less bullpen guy, or how do you do that? So that's his juggling act, I think, down the stretch.
Yeah, with the 6-man rotation and everything, Zach wouldn't have pitched normally until Friday, but he wanted to pitch today, which would his regular rest day have been. So he went out and threw 6 great innings, 7 or 8 strikeouts, and now he won't pitch again until Tuesday because they have an off day tomorrow. Then we have Nola, who's inconsistent again. Looked great 2 starts ago, not so great last start. Taijuan Walker is always a little shaky, but they always seem to give him run support, and that's why he's got 15 wins. So
yeah, crazy, because
the
other night he was not good at all.
No,
and ended up with a win. He got through 5 or 6 somehow, but
he's had a few games like that where he hasn't been great, but they've put up 7 or 8 runs.
Yeah. Hey, and I wanted to say, David mentioned about that Alec Bohm mishap out there at third base with play. He's going to make 99 times out of 100, but that's the closest I can remember in the near recent that I saw a player that I thought just was going to cry on the field.
Oh yeah.
You felt bad for him. It was just one of those things. What are you going to do? I mean, he was there to do the right thing. It just didn't go his way. And his emotion, the way he was there was said a lot for the way he cares,
Yeah, that is true. I like Bohm. He had a hit or 2 today also. And Marsh did start, and he made a great homer saving catch out in center field also. So that was good.
Yeah. Hey, and Dave, I wanted to throw this out there. I was going to mention this too. Dave puts it up there. Andrew McCutchen get ready to come to Philly here in September, and he is now out for the season with partially torn Achilles, which probably marks the end of the career for Andrew McCutchen.
He wants to come back next year, and you know what? He's got 299 career home runs. So
he's had them for a while, though.
Yeah, you would love to see him get number 300 with the Pirates, and maybe then call it a career.
Yeah, so we'll see. I got history with Andrew.
I don't remember that.
Oh, he's from here. He's from here. My son,
so you've known him?
Yeah, my son Mike played on an all-star team with him.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
And my son Chris played against him in high school. So, yeah, I've known Andrew since he was in the 9th grade, I guess.
How about that?
I've always rooted for him.
Regarding the Phillies, though, they have a pretty accommodating schedule over the next month. We mentioned that they played the Braves twice. This weekend, Miami's been playing pretty well. And speaking of injuries, Miami has now lost 2 of their key guys. So that's not good for them. But Soler and the pitcher, Alcantara, both out. So that's good for the Phillies, not so good.
Yeah, if you don't need to see Alcantara, don't.
Yeah,
because he can pretty much beat you
well against him, even though he's great.
Yeah, he's good. He can beat you any night out there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's move on. Let's give a shout out to all the shows at the Edge of Philly Sports Network this week. The gang has all the bases covered. A lot more, even with Eagles coming up, as you can see. Catch all the action on www.eopsports.com, as well as Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube at any time. You can also find our show on the Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel. Help us out by hitting those subscribe, follow, and like buttons. And as always, share with your family and friends. As you can see, we're loaded. We're loaded. We're going to be talking a whole lot more Eagles football as we go. And Chet, you have the numbers a little bit about our YouTube that you put up on Ray Didinger last week on a little clip, and certainly appreciate everybody taking a look at that. That was cool.
Yeah, we put out a couple of clips from the Ray Didinger interview, and one of them garnered 4,300 plus views. And since last Wednesday alone, we've picked up 60 some new subscribers. So, hey, thank you, everybody. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. We appreciate you watching us, but it helps when you subscribe and, like and comment and all that. We say that all the time, but it really does help.
Yeah, and just so people know that we put the whole show up there, but then we'll put cuts up there. So we might have the David Jones interview. We might have the Merrill Reese, Ray Didinger, whatever. Then we might have pieces of that for just 2 or 3 or 4 minute little cuts in there too, that you can watch it all without having to watch the whole hour if you don't want to.
And everybody loves Ray Diddy. We know that. And I know you love Merrill Reese too. We're going to talk with him in just a few minutes. But Bill, some people just might need a lawyer.
All right, guys, let's talk about Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you got to call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your rights. Again, that number is 610-565-0300. That's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right.
All right. Should we do a little random chat before Merrill? Get that out of the way?
Let's do a little random chat because I know you worked hard at this crazy Pink Floyd thing. Hey, the way they're dying off, Chet, you'll be able to do this pretty much every week, unfortunately.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on that. Yeah, it's sad. But we will not need any legal help, at least, to talk either about Eagles football or about Pink Floyd. And that's our random chat this week because Roger Waters is celebrating a birthday today. So if I can find that piece, I'm going to play that for you right now.
Hey, everybody. We did this over the summer with the songs of the Beach Boys and the Rolling Stones. And now in connection with Roger Waters' 80th birthday, I asked my music-loving friends on Facebook to give me their 3 favorite Pink Floyd songs. As with the 2 prior challenges, not easy, I know. So many great songs, especially from the 1970s and early 80s. Look, I know Roger Waters has had some controversial political views. One of my friends described him as a pompous ass. He may be. He split from the band in the mid-1980s and has had a contentious relationship with his ex-bandmates. So lots of baggage, yeah. But this is just about the music. So much great Pink Floyd music over the years. I haven't done research on this, but I have a hunch about 3/4 of humans in my age group own the Dark Side of the Moon album. I really struggled choosing my 3 favorite Pink Floyd songs. I mean, I really like the hits Money and Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. I love Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Welcome to the Machine, and Pigs, 3 different ones. But I ended up playing it safe and going with 3 of the biggies in order: Time, Comfortably Numb, and Wish You Were Here. All great, of course. But what did you go with in picking your favorite Pink Floyd songs? Well, not surprisingly, your collective top 10 Floyd songs are all from those 4 monster albums released between 1973 and 79. Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, and of course, The Wall. Oh, in tabulating the votes, a first place vote was worth 3 points, a second place vote 2 points, and third place vote, you guessed it, 1 point. So, here we go. Coming in at number 10, Mother, Do You Think They'll Drop the Bomb? I'm sorry, I won't sing anymore. Yeah, that was number 10, Mother. At number 9, a great song from side 2 of Dark Side, Us and Them. Then come 2 songs that actually finished in a tie for the 7th and 8th spots. Again, one from The Wall, one from Dark Side, Run Like Hell, and the haunting The Great Gig in the Sky with those terrific wordless vocals from Claire Torrey. At number 6, then, a terrific long tune from the Wish You Were Here album with 9 parts, actually. The great Shine On You Crazy Diamond about founding member Syd Barrett, whom they ended up kicking out of the band. So damn good. Not the fact that they kicked him out, but that song. Okay, as we get to the top 5, I'll put up a graphic showing the full top 10 based on your voting. And wow, lots of biggies in the top 5, as you could imagine. At number 5, a classic that was the first real radio hit for Pink Floyd, Money. Still sounds great 50 years later. Fourth, the number one hit single from The Wall in late 1979 and early 1980, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2. Now, look how tight the voting was for your top three. Man, I love all of these, of course. At number 3, the title song from the great Wish You Were Here album, another gem that Waters and David Gilmour co-wrote, Gilmour on lead vocals for that one. Second, an amazing song from Dark Side of the Moon, Time, which has Gilmour and Richard Wright on co-lead vocals. And at number 1, of course, an amazing piece of work from Gilmour and Waters, David's guitar solos, plus both guys singing, just fantastic. Comfortably Numb. Such a shame that Gilmour and Waters could never really resolve their differences and work together after the mid-'80s, other than the terrific Live 8 reunion set by Pink Floyd in 2005, and then a couple other one-offs a few years later by the two main guys who are not on the best of terms these days. Man, they sure gave us some amazing music over the last half century. So we say happy 80th to Roger, and we will have all that great music from the guys in Pink Floyd forever, till we're comfortably numb, I guess.
Good list. Good list.
Yeah, I think you're right. Comfortably Numb, Time, Wish You Were Here, the top 3. Pretty much what you might have expected. And our fans and listeners and viewers did not disappoint with their votes.
So I had the number 4 and the number 5 there.
Yeah, another Brick in the Wall and Money, their
was.
first big hit 50 years ago. So
Yep.
That's
good stuff, and I'm sure you had fun. You got anything else planned now? With Dave Yarnell's asking about your thoughts on Jimmy Buffett passed away. You going to run another one? You seem to like these.
Oh yeah, I have another couple ones in the works. About one a month we will do. I'm not going to spring it on you just yet, but regarding Jimmy Buffett, very sad. Only got to see the man once in 2015. He was great. We lost the lead singer of Smash Mouth the other day. And who else? Who was the third one? Come on, we lost another singer, and I forget right now.
Me too. But in the meantime, it's football season. We're cranked up. What's that mean to Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates? Gary Wright,
Dreamweaver, my love is alive. Very good.
Saw Gary Wright at JFK Stadium back in the day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was on that bill. I never saw him, but I like those two big hits and a couple other things that I heard from Gary Wright. So 3 good ones we've lost in the past week, and that's a shame. All right, now regarding Cav and Cavs Philly Tailgates, what I can tell you is Bob Cavanaugh has been running a great catering business for more than 30 years now. Known for their tailgate parties, Cav is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgate's Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events and parties, you name it. And if you do check their website, you'll see that they've got all the details there for their tailgate parties that'll be held before all 8 Eagles home games this season outside Live Casino. Order your tickets via the website, phillytailgates.com. Check the site, and if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go, and if you don't know, Cav also works with Vince at Philly Sports Trips, and they are the folks to use for all the Eagles road games this season. And how about we tell you a little bit more about that? And as usual, I struggle to find the appropriate spot, but I have.
All right, guys, if you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. Go to phillysportstrips.com. They have self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights from the Philadelphia airport. Packages include direct flights, 4-night stays, all-inclusive tailgate parties, lower-level group tickets. Whatever you want, you got it with phillysportstrips.com. If you want to travel to an upcoming Phillies game, make sure you check out Philly Sports Trips. And do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2023 season. Jump on it now, because you do not want to lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com.
We told you that the New England trip, of course, this weekend is sold out, but they do have some openings still for the late September Eagles game and tailgate bash and everything else that's involved down in Tampa. That's always a good time. So check that out, phillysportstrips.com.
And Chet, as crazy as it is, I saw a thing the other day that there are still tickets available for the game here in Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah, I told you, man. They don't like Philly. They're scared of Philly people. It's Monday night. They just don't want it all. Might be a lot more Eagles fans in the stands than Tampa Bay fans. We'll find out.
There's always a lot of Eagles fans everywhere, and I love
Well,
it.
their attendance dropped off once that TB12 left town. They had a big attendance drop. So, speaking of TB12, Chet, the Eagles open this Sunday in New England, 4:25 kickoff. The Patriots kind of pulling all the stops. They'll be honoring Tom Brady, TB12, at halftime of that game. First time he will be back in Gillette Stadium since he left the Patriots to go to Tampa Bay.
How about that? Yeah, that's going to be kind of fun, I think. I can't wait. I mean, it's been 7 months since the Eagles played a meaningful game, that little Super Bowl loss last February. So Sunday can't get here soon enough. I'll be in front of my man cave television watching every minute of it.
I'm sure you will. I hope I will somewhere. We'll find out. We'll talk more about that along the way.
Yes, that's right.
Hey, you had a chance to visit with the legendary radio voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese. He made his annual assessment of the Eagles. How many years has Merrill been joining us for this little preseason soiree?
Well, I say it's year 9, but technically the first year it was later in the season. So it's the 9th year overall, the 8th year in September, right before the season starts. We kind of have a standing date that we do this a few days before, the opener. So we got Merrill the other day, and I'll tell you, I love doing it with Merrill every year because he does not disappoint. He just turned 81 over the weekend, but he is still very sharp, and we covered a lot of ground in our interview, and here it is right now. From the start of another football season, and I'm thrilled to get to talk about that again this year with the radio voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, the awesome Merrill Reese. Welcome back, Merrill.
Good to be with you, Jim.
Merrill, you and I are doing this little season preview for a 9th year, but this is your 47th year behind the mic calling Eagles games. I know you still love it. I mean, that's obvious, but it's even more fun when the team is as good as it was last year, and we think this year, is it not?
It is. It's fun all the time. I mean, let's face it, I get excited every season. I get nervous every game day. I love it. But I guess when you have a team that is competitive, a team that people look at and say, you know what, this could be their year, it adds a little something extra.
Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball first this year, Merrill. 70 sacks last year. Hargrave is gone, I know, but that front seven, man, with the Georgia connection and more, looks to be very good with a good mix of experience and youth. Do you agree?
I do. I can't wait to see number 98, Jalen Carter. If I were Mac Jones, the Patriots quarterback, I would be having nightmares.
Is Nakobe Dean ready to take charge at middle linebacker?
I think he is. I think he's a very, very bright football player. I think he's very athletic. All he needs is game experience, but I think he's great. I think he's going to be terrific.
Jonathan Gannon is gone. Some people loved him as defensive coordinator. A lot of people did not love him so much. Sean Desai takes over this year. Is the defense going to look any different?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I, by the way, am somebody who thought that Jonathan Gannon was an excellent defensive coordinator. The late Jim Johnson once told me the mark of a great defense is if it can hold the opponent to an average of 17 points a game. And you can even add 3 points to that because there's more scoring today. That's what Jonathan Gannon's defense did. During the season, it held the opponents to 17 points a game. And that shows that they were very, very good. And that's why he was hired as a head coach. But as far as Sean Desai is concerned, I don't know what to expect because, as you know, and everyone knows, I think, the preseason is an exhibition of vanilla. Vanilla on offense, vanilla on defense. They don't show you a thing. So we'll have to wait and see.
Hey, the one concern some people have is the secondary. Do you have faith in the young safeties?
I do. I think Reed Blankenship is going to be terrific. I really do. Not sure who the other starter will be, but eventually it's going to be Sidney Brown. And the players refer to him, his teammates refer to him as a heat-seeking missile. He reminds me, and I know I get some question marks about this, and I'm not saying I'm putting him in Canton, Ohio, but he reminds me of a young, not a finished, not a polished, but a young Brian Dawkins when he arrived from Clemson. He just goes after everything he sees and hits it. He has just tremendous passion for the game.
Yeah, he is fun to watch. At least we think he's going to be. Merrill, we had the great Ray Didinger on our show last week, and he was really bullish about Jalen Hurts' development, the two great wideouts, and even the quartet of running backs. Here's what Ray had to say.
I think the offense is going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be any issues with the offense. And boy, if you're a defensive coordinator, good luck trying to scheme this offense.
And I agree, this offense is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, they're great. And not to blow my own horn, Jim, but you will remember that when a lot of people were wondering if the Eagles had a franchise quarterback, I've been behind Jalen Hurts from day one when they drafted him. I thought he was special then. I had watched him at Alabama and Oklahoma. I think he's even more special now, and I think that we haven't yet seen the ceiling. He is a tremendous young quarterback.
Yeah, Jalen's growth from 2021 to last season was pretty impressive. Do you think he can be even better here in 2023?
I do. I really do. He's playing behind the best offensive line in football. He's got the best trio of receivers in, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I mean, they're terrific. And then he has a good running back room, too. I mean, you have four guys, all of whom can play. Their roles have not been publicly defined yet, but I think the guy who's probably going to get the most work on first down is DeAndre Swift. I think you're going to see DeAndre Swift a lot on first down.
Well, yeah, speaking of DeAndre Swift, with him now in the mix, might we see more screens to running backs?
Maybe, although they used screens a lot with Gainwell last year. He was kind of a third down back, but they screened to him quite a bit. And, I think you can screen to Boston Scott also. He catches the ball well, and the other guy's Rashad Penny. I think they're going to be fine.
You mentioned the receivers, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. They caught 95 and 88 passes last year, respectively. Both were well over 1,000 yards. Might the tight end, Dallas Goedert, join them in that 1,000-yard club?
He could if he stays healthy. He's a terrific player. He really is. He's not only a good pass receiver, he's also an excellent blocker, just a terrific all-around tight end. I put him right up there with George Kittle and with Travis Kelce and with Mark Andrews. I think he is among the best tight ends in the game.
Getting back to the offensive line, Stoutland, those guys are so good. Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson in particular continue to amaze me. Are they both going to end up in Canton, do you think?
I think for sure Jason Kelce will be there, and Lane Johnson has played at a high level for a lot of years. The only thing I wonder about is there was a suspension a couple of times, actually, once for 4 games, once for 10 games. Could that figure into it? I don't know. But I think there's a good chance that he certainly has played at a Hall of Fame level.
Looking at the schedule, no NFL game is a guaranteed win, of course, but the earlier part of the season looks a lot more accommodating than that stretch after the Week 10 bye. At Kansas City, home games against the Bills and 49ers, then at Dallas and at Seattle, followed by a Christmas Day battle with the Giants. That is a brutal 6-game stretch, Merrill.
I guess it is. I'm not a schedule guy, Jim. I'm really not. When the schedule comes out, the only thing I look at is, do we have night travel games where you finish at 1 o'clock in the morning and walk in the house at 6 a.m.? Schedules are based on last year. When people look at the schedule in April when it comes out and start drawing it up with W's and L's. But teams change. Almost a third of the roster changes for a lot of these teams. And injuries. If you could tell me who's going to be lining up for the Eagles and who's going to be lining up for the Cowboys when they meet on December 10th in Arlington, Texas, I'd have a pretty good idea of who's going to win that game. But here we are. We're in September and a long way from that. The NFL is a war of attrition.
So the Eagles, of course, went to the Super Bowl last year, and they are the favorites from the NFC again this year. But that's something that's been historically tough, getting back after losing the Super Bowl. Who are the Birds' biggest threats, do you think, in the NFC?
In the NFC, a lot of people are saying San Francisco. Now, you can hold me to this. I think San Francisco is going to be a very disappointing team this year. I don't like the quarterback situation at all. I thought Brock Purdy managed the games well for a while, but I don't think he's a special quarterback. And I think they lost a very big piece on the defense when D'Amico Ryans, the former Eagle, became the head coach of the Houston Texans. I thought he was a big reason that defense was so good. You still have to look at Dallas. Who knows about the Rams? They went from Super Bowl to not much of anything last year. Team to look out for might just be the Detroit Lions. They have taken some big steps under Coach Dan Campbell. They could be very dangerous.
Two more quick things, Merrill. Right now I'm holding up a can of Conshohocken Brewery's Merrill and Mike Philly Special Double Hazy IPA. There was a follow-up also on Mike and Merrill. How do you and your radio partner, Mike Quick, like having beers brewed in your honor?
Well, we did it for one reason, and I'm going to be honest with you. We did not make a single penny out of it. The money was done for charity, and quite a large amount was given that was raised from the sale of that to the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia. Mike is very actively involved in that charity that brings golf to children in the inner city. It's a wonderful thing, and it's a character-building experience. So that's where it went. So for that reason, I like it a great deal.
And finally, we're going to get to see the Birds in Kelly Green a couple of times this year. Merrill, you a midnight green or a Kelly Green guy?
I'm a whatever it takes to win guy. I like them both. I like them both. The only uniform I don't like when they wear the white jerseys and the green pants. I call them the slow green pants. I don't like that uniform. I think that the white jerseys and the green pants look kind of like a high school team. But I like them in all white. I like them when they wear the Kelly green. I love that. I love when they wear their midnight green. And I guess it's out of the repertoire this year, but I used to call them the Black Knights of the Schuylkill when they would wear the black jerseys. I thought that was a neat uniform once or twice a year.
You're the best, Merrill. Thanks for doing this for a 9th straight season with us here on Philly Pressbox Radio. Always great to get your insight. Have a great season.
My pleasure, Jim. Nice to be on with you.
Chet, as always, Merrill, something special, and he makes you look good.
Well, yeah. Thank you, I think. He is so
good stuff. And, Merrill's always excited, but he calls it the way he sees it. He has every year for us, and I'm with him. And his comment on the 49ers I thought was interesting because I thought maybe I was the only one that thought that.
No, I feel the same way. So I was really glad to hear him say that too. I think they're going to be a disappointment just like Merrill does.
Yep, absolutely. Good stuff. Hey, great guest tonight, David Jones, Merrill Reese. Who's coming to Philly Press Box next week? And I will be on vacation, so you'll be running solo without me.
Yeah, Bill, you're going to be missing out because I'm going to be joined by a first-time guest who's been working in the Philly market, doing a variety of things over the last 20-plus years, including the last 2 years hosting The Sports Scene on Philly's Channel 17, a very knowledgeable guy about the entire Philly sports scene, Philly music, radio, and much more. I'm going to miss you, Bill, but I'm looking forward to talking with Jason Lee. He's a good dude. So I will also have a second guest as well, but I have not yet firmed that up. So Jason Lee and to be determined next week.
All right. Well, have fun without me. I will try to figure out how to maybe make a cameo from across the pond, but we'll see. I'll have to get my picks in. So speaking of that, it's our fearless prediction time. Yes, Boop, Bob Vitrone Jr. from Boop Stats will be joining us again this year. Although he won't be here live tonight. Boop's not going to be with us every week, but he'll be with us a good portion of the time. I know the fans like when Boop is here because Boop is the man.
But he's a busy guy, and he's just too damn sexy to have on every week.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I know he's a busy guy. And hey, we're going to do something a little different too, Chet. We're going to have a 3-way pool that we're calling the Margin of Victory Survivor Pool. Tell us about how that's going to work. Maybe I'll
understand. Football fans know how a survivor pool works. You pick one game each week that you are sure will be a winner. As long as that happens, you get to come back for another week. But you can't pick that same team again. But here's the tweak that we're doing. When the team you pick does win, you also get points based on the margin of victory. So if the team you pick wins by 17, you get 17 points. If the team you pick loses, you're not eliminated, though. We're not going to eliminate any of the three of us, but you will get a 0 for the week. At season's end, whoever gets the most points is the big winner.
And you can only use your team one time.
Exactly.
Just like a survivor pool. So
and we're talking 18 weeks of making a pick, and there are 32 teams. So you're gonna, it's tougher as you go along.
Absolutely. So how about we do this, Chet, for the people watching, listening, if they want to participate in this, how about we try to keep track of this? They can leave us a message over at Philly Pressbox Radio Facebook page, and we'll try to track it.
Yeah, I'll put you in charge of that, Bill.
Yeah, well, I'll try to get it done. I'll try to keep an eye on it. All right.
So
here we go with our picks. NFC East first. We got Arizona at Washington. Washington -7. Dallas is at the Giants. The Cowboys are -3.5. Our add-in game is San Francisco at Pittsburgh. The Niners -2.5. And then the Eagles at New England. The Eagles are -4. So who does Boop have in these games?
All right. Boop says regarding the first one, Arizona at Washington, Eric Bieniemy is going to make a difference. He's the OC, I guess, for Washington. So he is taking the Commanders. So am I. You, Bill?
Commanders.
All right. Next up, Dallas at the New York Giants. Boop says his Cowboys-loving new son-in-law just took the bar exam, so he will throw him a bone here and take the Cowboys. Oh, no. He's a Cowboys fan? Oh, that's awful. Yeah, I'm taking Dallas as well, though, to win even up.
I really want to take the Giants in this game at home. Heck, I'm going to take them.
All right. I thought about it, but I couldn't pull the trigger.
I'm going to take them at home. That's Sunday night? Monday night?
That's Sunday night. Yeah, they always seem to play on Sunday night to start the season.
Yeah, let's see. I'll take them.
I'm writing down the New York Giants.
49ers at the Steelers.
Well, for that one, Boop says since 2003, the Steelers are 8-1 when they open the season at home. He's taking Pittsburgh. I didn't even have to see that because I'm also taking Pittsburgh because, as we said, San Francisco is overrated.
Well, and I was going to take them for the same reason. Okay.
Yeah,
and we know everybody's taking the Eagles, so that ain't good. I'm glad I stepped out on the Giants.
Yeah, regarding the Eagles, Boop says, while 14-3 seems possible again, there's always an extra stumble or two. So I'll tell you about his pick for that in a minute. But regarding the Sunday game, he says the Eagles may never lose another game to Bill Belichick. He's taking the Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles. You're taking the Eagles.
I'm taking the Eagles.
Will they cover? I think they will cover the 4. I don't know why that line is so small.
Yeah, they'll cover the 4.
All right.
All right, so that gets us through that. Now, let's talk about, before we get to our survivor, let's do our survivor.
Yeah.
Victory survivor pool, we're going to call it. Margin of victory survivor pool.
Yep.
Who we got?
Boop is taking the Jacksonville Jags. I'm taking those Washington Commanders, and Bill Furman is taking.
I can't believe you're taking the Washington Commanders because that's who I'm taking.
That's okay.
Josh Dobbs at quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals is not.
Yeah.
I just saw today that he was named the official starter.
That's Gannon's team, right?
That's Gannon's team.
Yeah, they're going to stink.
But what's his name? Kyler Murray is on the DL for 4 weeks, and they cut their Colt McCoy. So Josh Dobbs is their guy, and they're not winning that game.
Full season predictions time, Bill.
All right. Who's Boop have?
Boop says, they may not go 14-3, but they will go 13-4. So that's what Boop says. As for me, I just think that with the tougher schedule, including that real tough 5 or 6 game stretch in November and December, it's going to be more like 11 or 12 wins. I'm going to be optimistic and take that higher number. So I'm saying 12-5 and another NFC East title. You, Bill?
Why didn't you go 11?
I could have, but
I have 12-5 also.
That's okay.
That was my pick, 12-5, and I think it's going to be a fun season.
So we're saying 12-5. Boop went 13-4. Man, I hope we're right. Any of the 3 of us, I would take.
That's it. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up? We're at 7:59.
I'll wrap it up. We're done.
Let's do it. Let's thank tonight's special guests, David Jones and Merrill Reese. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room, and Dave Lavoie of Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. For Jim Chet, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoy the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, September 13th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook. Listen to our website, PhillyPressBoxRadio.com, on Google Podcasts, as well as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. Plenty going on, Chet. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans.
Let's do the song. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fly, Eagles, fly. On the road to victory. Everybody, come on.